Welcome back to Studio Chatter. The loss of a loved one or some other tragedy in our life can send us reeling, and we shouldn't try to overcome it alone. Let's welcome Heather Yancy, a solo mother of 2, to the chatter. Welcome.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me, you guys.
Hello.
I appreciate it.
Well, Angie and I know you well.
Yes.
We sure do. We are so excited for Natasha and our viewers to get to know you a little bit better. So tell us a little bit about
Introduce us.
Well, I am a mom of twins. My husband passed away 2 weeks after their 3rd birthday, and they're now 6.5. So we've made it 3.5 years. So it's kind of veteran status at this point, where you feel like you've got a little bit of a grip on life, the huge life change that you've had, and you kind of never get over it, but you get to the point where you can kind of work with that grief and not just have it be such an all-encompassing part of your life. So I'm kind of looking outward now at how I can help other widows and other people who have gone through loss and feeling like it's kind of the time for them.
Tell us a little tad bit of your story so people can understand
your
grieving. And
yeah, of course. My husband and I would have been celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So we had been married for, we'd been married for 16 years. It took us a long time to have our girls. We went through IVF to get them. So we were the older parents that were so excited to have our family. And I found him unresponsive one morning, early in the morning, and called 911, did CPR, all the things that we are, programmed in our mind to do. And he passed away at the hospital. It was completely fluky and unexpected, and I was 38 years old, left with these twins to raise. So it was really quite a life-shattering, changing event. Yeah.
I want to ask you, you said after 3.5 years, you kind of feel like a veteran.
I do.
At what point
did it transition?
When did you get that status?
Right. And I'm sure this is going to look different for everybody.
Absolutely. Yes. I think that's one of the really important things to understand about grief is it is so unique and it's so different for every person. For me, I would say the first year was just survival, just making it through the day. And you're in a fog. You can't function the same way. You can't think the same way. So I'd say like that first year was just kind of getting through it. And then I think it's actually more painful that second year because the reality, I really do. I think the first year you're almost kind of protected because you're still in shock. And
everyone's around and kind of helping. You're going through the first, but you're almost prepared to go through those first and have it be hard.
And I think I've been really blessed that we have a wonderful community around us, as you know, we are neighbors. And so that help didn't go away. A lot of people, the help goes away after a month or 3 months, a year. I think those are really common times. Like people will remember maybe a year, but grief doesn't go away. It is there and life altering forever for myself, for my daughters, for everyone that loved Mike. So the people that stick around and remember those important dates and anniversaries to you are just,
I love like pizza really on his birthday and stuff.
Yes.
Like those are always just so tender and cute for me.
Yes.
So what is your general support system, or even in that first year?
So in that first year, I grew up in California, so I have my mom and dad are in California. I have a brother there, and I have a sister there. I have one sibling out here. Wow. So he's been a big support. But he's a married man with 4 kids of his own and lots of travels. So he was a big support, but really my friends and my neighbors were the everyday support to me. Can we take your girls for a couple hours? Can we help you? The everyday help. Emotional help, I talk to my mom every day, I think.
Okay.
And then I found this community online very quickly. After he passed away, we went with my sister, she lives in Southern California, went to go spend a couple weeks with her before we had to kind of come back and get back to life and figure out what that looked like.
Right.
And when I was there, I started looking up what kind of support groups, what is out there, who understands this and has been through this. And I found on Facebook this, I'm LDS, so I found this LDS widow and widower group. And that has been an immense source of support. It's been absolutely amazing.
So do they meet, or is that just an online?
Well, it is online. So we have, the majority of the members are in, Utah, Arizona, within the United States. We have some that are international. But they do a conference every year at BYU, and it's focused on all kinds of different scenarios that come up for people who are grieving and who have lost their spouse. So they'll have some that are like talking about how to help your children with grieving, or how to help blend a family if you're looking at getting remarried, finances, so many things like that. So we do have that physical time we're able to get together. They have that every year, and then there have been spin-off conferences because of that one. So we have one like in Arizona and Idaho and St. George. So there's really.
Are you playing a big part in some of that now?
I am an admin on one of the Facebook groups for the Young Widow group. So there's there's a big broad one that anyone who's LDS and has lost a spouse joins, and there's I think like 6,000 members. And then we have a Young Widow group, which is 50-ish, still raising kids at home and younger. And I mean, we have people who are widowed when they're 21. Right. Wow. We have, there's a variety. So I felt very young at 38, but then you hear someone who's like in their early 20s, and it's
just tough.
Yeah, so just the unique things about, raising children and helping them grieve, and being a solo parent, which was never your plan, and being able to talk about this.
You're grieving, but they at 3, trying to understand.
Yes.
And will they remember certain aspects of him?
Absolutely.
How much do you hold on and keep his memory alive? And
so many things to try and figure out how to do it. So just like with anything, it is so helpful to have other people who understand.
Or understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And someone told me, like with my mother just recently passing, like grief is going to look different on every person.
Absolutely.
And what works for one may not work for another, but that understanding, that empathy runs really deep through everyone.
Absolutely.
So when you tell them something, they get it, they understand. And sometimes that's just comforting knowing someone else understands and gets it.
Yeah,
just like me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the best ways you can be there for someone who's grieving is just to sit with them in their grief and just let them be sad and just let them tell you how they're feeling. I think we are such a fix-it. We want to fix it, but you can't fix that. It's just something where you just need love and support. And one of my, we were served in just so many ways after Mike passed away, but one of my dear friends called me every single night, I think for a solid year, just to check in with me, because she understood evenings were lonely, how different it felt.
I bet.
And that was such an amazing service, because she hadn't lost a spouse, but she just innately just understood. Yeah, isn't that incredible?
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, I'm sure that the change is probably transitioned for you through the years.
Oh yeah.
And so you're probably a wealth of information also to share with others.
I hope to be. Yeah.
So tell us about this workshop that you have coming up in Pleasant Grove.
Yes. So on April 3rd, we are having our first charity gala. It's for WW Ministering Angels. It was a charity that was started by a group of my friends that spun off from this Facebook group. Wow. We recognize, like, at Christmas time, people wouldn't have money to get their kids gifts. So that was kind of where it first started, but then you'd hear, someone's power was going to be turned off, or they didn't have money to make their rent this month, those types of things. And so people kept stepping up and pulling money and helping out in those situations, those really dire situations. And we just realized there was a greater need. I wasn't one that formed the charity, but I'm helping with this gala to hopefully raise some money and awareness and have just a fun event for people to attend. It's going to be really outstanding. We have Jenny Oaks Baker and her family are performing, and she's amazing. Jenny Taylor, who is the widow of the North Ogden mayor who was killed in Afghanistan.
She's amazing to listen to.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
So it's a fun excuse to get dressed up, come hear some good music, hear some uplifting words, have some yummy food. We have a great caterer coming.
So
drinks,
do you need
treats.
to pre-buy tickets to tables?
Tickets are available right now. You can buy an individual ticket, or you can buy a table if you want to go with a group of friends.
Do you know how much those are?
They're $100 a ticket or $800 for a table.
Okay.
And we're hoping to get about 200 people there to get a really good turnout. We're going to be doing a silent auction and a regular live auction. We actually have an auctioneer in our group, so we even have a real auctioneer that's going to be a part of it. But it should be a really, really wonderful night. Because, being widowed is such a hard thing, but there's always light. There's always positive things, and there's things you learn and you grow, and you can share that with other people. So it's not just going to be a downer of a night. I think it's going to be a really amazing and uplifting
And
night.
in Pleasant Grove, we're at?
Pleasant Grove, it's called the Tribe House. I'm going to give you our website, and look that up. It's linked right to the tickets on Eventbrite, and we'd love to have some support and people there to
Heather,
come
you
have a
sound
funny
great.
amazing.
You
We've
are
just loved
amazing.
over the
Thank
years.
you.
It's such
Oh, I
an
love
example
you.
of like just strength and
Oh,
courage to keep
I don't
going.
know about that, but thank
Yeah,
you.
You are.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. We'll
Thank
share
you
that
so much.
information. There's more studio chatter coming up.